One of the strange things about Parashat Beshalah is that it wasn't in the program. Avraham Avinu was told by God how everything was going to occur with regards to his children being strangers in a land that wasn't theirs. Abraham is told, Yado Teda, Ki ger yeh zarcha be'eretz lo lahem. Your descendants are going to be strangers in a land that's not theirs. Va'avadum, v'ainu otam. They're going to cause them to serve. They will cause them to work. And there will be suffering involved. But after that event, God says, they will leave with great wealth. And I'm going to judge the nation that holds your descendants in that space. That nation, of course, ended up being Egypt. And we spent over two centuries as slaves in the land of Egypt. It was there that we flourished as a nation. We grew and became plentiful. And we did indeed leave with great wealth. All of it went according to plan. The people knew what they could hope for and wish for. They yearned for a savior, very much in the same way that we look forward to the Mashiach. The people had a tradition that they would be slaves and that they would be saved. And they were. But what happens in this parasha is not mentioned to Avraham Avinu. Never does Avraham hear from God, and I'm going to bring them through the waters of the ocean, and I will split the ocean for them and bring them through to safety. Even Moshe, who is there and leading the people, is not told that this was in the plans until right before it occurs. Moshe is not told, listen, Moshe, this is how it is that we're going to leave Egypt. I'm going to bring them through a detour. I'm going to bring them into a serious situation where they're going to be blocked by the sea, and watch what I'm going to do. None of this is reported or told. God keeps these events very close to his chest, so to speak. And it is only just before its occurrence that God says to Moshe, Moshe, I have something amazing that I'm going to do. Watch this. We're going to turn around. Yashuvu, yahanu lifnei pi yachirot, ben Migdol uben Hayam. Let them turn back. They should camp between Migdol and Pi Hahirot by the sea. And he has the people then sitting by the sea. And then Egypt come out to chase them from behind. So here the people are in a terrible situation between straits, the ocean on one side and Paro on the other, and they become frantic. Here, God opens the sea for the people. And the question is, why was it played this way? Why wasn't it in the playbook that this should be part of the entire exodus of Egypt? Why is this surprising and spontaneous? One way to understand it is this. The entire idea of slavery and freedom, of salvation, of a savior coming in to take the people out, of the leading of the people into the promised land, became institutionalized in the psyche of the nation of Israel. Very much the way that the idea of Mashiach is institutionalized in the psyche of the nation of Israel. We sing about it in our Yigdal. We talk about it all the time. People will end their sermons over and over again saying, let us see the days of Mashiach. It is an institution in our people. And one of the issues with institution is that it becomes impersonal. It lacks this here and now connection. And God did not want the people of Israel at that time, in that space, to be simply walking through an institutionalized idea, that they were incidental to the overarching system of slavery, freedom, of the covenant that God had established with Abraham. He wanted the people to feel personally engaged, that this was being done not for some overarching idea alone, but for them, those people, in that time, in that place. And so, this thing, this spontaneous thing, this new thing was done for those people in that space at that time, so that they should feel that God was not just running some system, but that he was engaged with them, that it was personal, that it was something that each and every single one of the people could feel they were personally engaged with. And this is an important concept that the Torah teaches us, that ideas that are at their onset, in their openings, fresh, exciting, and new, can become institutionalized as they develop and take hold. And institutions must struggle to establish the newness or to maintain the newness and excitement, the personal connection that it might have had at its foundation and its beginning. Every institution must work on doing this. And so we read in our prayers that the song that was sung at that time on the sea, when the people of Israel saw Egypt consumed by the waters, and that the threat of Egypt was no more before them, it says that the song was a shirah hadashah. It was a new song, a song that they had not sung before, a song that was not sung by mothers to their children, by the nation in their work, but something new, something spontaneous, something that was special to them in that moment. It is something that we must think about and remember in terms of our lives and our institutions. Are we running ideas simply because the ideas are there and that we have this responsibility to run them? Or is there something about the purpose that is meaningful to us here, now, today? When we get up in the morning, we should ask ourselves, what is our purpose? Why? Because our lives, our very lives, can become institutionalized. We can get through habits and rote and do things simply because this is what we do. But there comes a time where there's a bit of spontaneity that's necessary. Something new is necessary in order to bring our consciousness and awareness back to the forefront. That we ask ourselves, what is our purpose? What is my purpose as a human being in living my life? What is our purpose as community in terms of why it is that we are here and what it is that we are doing? What are the new things, the new songs that we must sing in order to maintain the fresh uniqueness of the system and ideas that we dedicate our lives to? Shabbat Shalom.